On a bright early spring day, a young man is standing alone when a girl comes running up to deliver a package to him. He's not pleased when the girl, Nya Bastos, addresses him as Demon Lord, sir, and once again, he reminds her not to call him that. Unfazed by the scolding, Nya retorts that everyone around here refers to him that way. Changing the subject, the Demon Lord asks if she can be trusted to handle the delivery. After Nya confidently assures him that she will, he hands her a package, explaining that it contains a magic potion that is sold at magic shops in town. He warns her to be cautious as the potion is in a glass bottle. Nya proudly announces that fast and safe delivery is her company's motto. She then asks why he doesn't go to town himself to sell the potion, noting that he's skilled at his craft and could attract more customers. Looking annoyed, the Demon Lord responds that the town is always crowded with people. Nya chuckles at his answer, teasing that he's always grumpy. She suggests he should try to enjoy life since he's still young. The Demon Lord nearly shouts at her to stop meddling in his business, but Nya ignores his outburst. Instead, she remarks that with a face as grumpy as his, it's no wonder townspeople call him the Demon Lord. He slumps onto a nearby bench, realizing that it's no surprise rumors are spreading about him, given that he's a reclusive mage living on the outskirts of town. This thought reminds him of an incident a few days ago when he encountered some children in the woods. The kids were boasting about not being afraid of any Demon Lord, but the moment he appeared, they ran off without a second glance. It left him feeling a bit disappointed since he only intended to warn them about wild animals. Ever since people started calling him Demon Lord, kids have been venturing out to his area to prove their bravery. When he finally stops his rambling, Nya comments that it must be hard for him. She notes how, despite his dislike for people, he can't help himself from lending a hand when needed, which she finds puzzling. Nya then suggests he finds something fun to do in life, but the Demon Lord just angrily retorts that it's none of her business. Eventually, Nya leaves with the package, and the Demon Lord turns his attention to the papers she left behind. Among them is a newspaper article reporting on a woman who escaped from her country, with no one knowing her current whereabouts. The Demon Lord stands up, preparing to head elsewhere when he hears a strange voice. He calls out, but no one responds. Taking a few steps forward, he discovers a young woman lying unconscious on the ground. His first thought is that she might have run away from home, or that someone could be pursuing her. Either way, leaving her alone would be dangerous. Reluctantly, he recalls Nya's words from earlier, but realizing he has no other choice, he decides to take care of the girl until she wakes up. Lifting her into his arms, he starts walking toward his house. However, he doesn't get far before an unknown warrior suddenly attacks him. As the sword slashes down toward him, the Demon Lord instantly vanishes, leaving the attacker stunned. The Demon Lord reappears a short distance away, explaining that he used a light illusion spell. His eyes narrow when he notices a badge on the warrior's arm, identifying him as one of the crown's personal guards from a neighboring country. He demands to know why a royal guard is here, but before the guard can respond, more soldiers emerge from the nearby bushes. Though surrounded, the Demon Lord is unfazed. He mocks them, noting that royal guards usually travel in groups, suggesting they aren't confident on their own. Ignoring his taunts, one of the guards angrily demands that he return the girl to them, accusing her of bringing disgrace upon their country. The Demon Lord is taken aback by the revelation that she is a fugitive. The lead guard then tries to negotiate, promising that if the Demon Lord hands over the girl, they won't harm him, but warns that if he chooses to protect her, they won't spare him. The guards draw their swords, but the Demon Lord remains calm, refusing their offer. Faced with the choice between protecting a defenseless woman or submitting to the royal guards, he decides to defend her without hesitation. As soon as he declares his choice, the guards prepare to strike, hoping to overpower him since his hands are occupied. With a slight smile, the Demon Lord casts a freezing binding spell, trapping their feet in the ground. Two of the guards stumble as they attempt to step forward, immobilized by the magic. Only one guard remains, charging at the Demon Lord with determination. In the struggle, the guard's attack dislodges the Demon Lord's hood, revealing his striking black and white hair. The guard's eyes widen in recognition, but before he can react, the Demon Lord silences him with the same binding spell, causing him to collapse to the ground. With all the guards incapacitated, the Demon Lord stands victorious, still holding the unconscious girl in his arms. The Demon Lord kneels before the leader of the guards and uses an Elis dream spell to hypnotize him. Under the magic's influence, he questions the guard about their actions in the forest. The guard, now entranced, begins to recount how they had searched the entire jungle but found no trace of the girl. Their initial assumption was that she had fallen prey to wild beasts, so they decided to return to their country and report her presumed fate. Satisfied with this answer, the Demon Lord instructs them to leave and never return. Still under the spell's influence, the guards obediently walk away, and he knows that once the enchantment wears off, they will have no memory of him. With the area now clear, he carefully carries the unconscious girl back to his home and gently places her on a sofa. As he looks at her innocent face, he finds it hard to believe that this young woman is the fugitive everyone is searching for. Despite her seemingly harmless appearance, he chooses not to judge her solely based on looks and decides to wait until she awakens. While waiting, he picks up a newspaper and reads a report from Neil's kingdom. The article details how the betrothed of the second prince was revealed to be an extremely wicked woman. She allegedly squandered the country's tax money, secretly consorted with numerous men, and even plotted to assassinate the king. The prince had exposed her misdeeds and claimed to have saved the kingdom, but the woman had mysteriously disappeared from prison, prompting a nationwide search. The demon lord's eyes widen when he sees the picture of the fugitive in the paper. It's the same girl he rescued from the forest. A while later, the girl begins to stir. As she opens her eyes, the demon lord immediately offers her a cup of tea. Though wary at first, she relaxes slightly when he explains that he found her unconscious in the forest and brought her to safety. After a few sips, she calms down enough to start talking. She explains that she got lost in the forest, saw a mansion in the distance, and was trying to reach it before collapsing. The demon lord smiles and informs her that she succeeded, as this is the very mansion she had seen. He then picks up the newspaper, showing it to her with a knowing look. "Should I welcome Miss Charlotte, the fiancée of the second prince from Neil's kingdom?" he asks. Charlotte's eyes widen in shock, realizing she's been exposed. However, before she can panic, the demon lord reassures her that he doesn't believe she's guilty. The demon lord explains that years ago, he was betrayed by someone he once considered a close friend. Ever since that incident, he's been able to discern lies just by looking into someone's eyes. Gazing into Charlotte's eyes, he confidently tells her that he can sense she isn't lying. To his surprise, Charlotte suddenly breaks down in tears. Alarmed, the demon lord rushes over, frantically trying to figure out if she's in pain or if something else is troubling her. Charlotte, her voice shaky, tells the demon lord that he is the first person to believe in her. Back at the castle, everything happened so quickly. Just a week ago, there had been a grand birthday celebration for Prince Cecil, the second prince of Noor's kingdom. Prince Cecil sat arrogantly on his throne as Charlotte approached, while onlookers whispered about the couple. Although they had been engaged for years, this was the first time they were seen speaking publicly. As Charlotte came closer, Cecil coldly announced that they had found irrefutable evidence of her numerous wrongdoings. Charlotte was stunned, having no idea what he was accusing her of, but the crowd believed the prince without question. Seizing the opportunity, Cecil publicly called off their engagement and ordered his guards to imprison her. Charlotte managed to escape during a change of guards. When she finishes her story, the demon lord asks if her family didn't stand up for her. She explains that she was adopted by the Evans-Margell family when she was a child, as they had no children of their own. Few people knew the truth. She was the daughter of a mistress. Once the king's wife gave birth to a daughter, Charlotte was cast out of the mansion. Listening to her, the demon lord realizes how Cecil wanted to break the engagement since he had no interest in marrying an illegitimate child or falling for another woman. In both cases, Charlotte stood as an obstacle to him. She looks devastated as she tells him that her face is on every newspaper and she is certain that they will soon come for her. Feeling guilty for dragging him into her mess, she insists she should leave to avoid putting him at risk. Before she can finish her sentence, the demon lord interrupts her. Startled, Charlotte is caught off guard when he casually asks about her cleaning skills. Perplexed, she hesitantly replies that her skills are average. The demon lord, appearing satisfied, announces that he will hire her as a live-in maid. He explains that in exchange for handling all the household chores, he will pay her a small salary, provide her with food, and give her a place to stay since his mansion has plenty of empty rooms. Charlotte is still in shock at his sudden offer. She tries to remind him of the danger, insisting that taking her in might put him at risk since she's a fugitive from her own country. The demon lord, however, finally addresses her concern. He admits that yes, it may be dangerous for him to shelter someone like her. A while ago, he chose to live a solitary life in the forest, far away from any human interaction. But even so, he finds he doesn't have the heart to abandon her. With a serious expression, he shares a part of his past that mirrors her story of betrayal. Seeing the curiosity in her eyes, he finally reveals his real name, Alan Crawford. He recounts how, 3 years ago, he set off on a journey to explore the world. Along the way, he was invited to join an adventuring party. They were friendly, enthusiastic, and shared dreams of a future filled with thrilling adventures. For a while, Alan believed he had found companions he could trust. However, just as with Charlotte, his journey did not end as he had hoped. Sadly, Alan's party had planned to betray him from the very beginning. They used him to break the seal of a temple, stole all the treasures, and left him to die, surrounded by deadly magical beasts. Charlotte is horrified to hear his story, and as she weeps, Alan gently holds her hand, telling her how, back then, no one came to his aid. This is why he refuses to abandon her now, because she is facing the same kind of betrayal. While Charlotte is moved to tears by his tragic tale, Alan recalls how he managed to get his former team arrested after escaping the temple. They had committed numerous crimes, and the guards were already hunting them down. In the end, Alan was rewarded with a large sum of money from the authorities. He used that money to purchase the secluded mansion where he now lives, intending to retire in peace. Although he lost his trust in people after that betrayal, he found some satisfaction in avenging himself, and he still has a portion of his reward left. He decides to keep this part of his story to himself, content that Charlotte is sympathizing with him. Finally, Charlotte speaks up, expressing gratitude for his kindness, but insists she cannot accept his offer. She fears she would only be a burden to him. Alan, displeased by her response, takes a drastic step to convince her. He dramatically declares that he has placed a death curse on himself. Charlotte is confused by this sudden declaration, so he explains that unless she agrees to work for him, he will not lift the curse, which means he will die in the next 3 minutes. Panicking, Charlotte is torn, unsure of what to do as Alan continues to pressure her. He tells her that if she doesn't accept, an innocent person will die, which only deepens her confusion. She knows that despite his harsh words, he is a good man who saved her in the forest. With a sly grin, Alan insists that he's a great person and keeps reminding her that time is running out now, only 2 minutes and 30 seconds remain. As he theatrically clutches his neck and pretends to struggle for breath, Charlotte, with no other choice, finally agrees to work in the mansion as a live-in maid. Alan's eyes gleam with victory, and he releases the curse with a satisfied smile.